Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Sandra Yevette, the owner and founder of Loving Touch Healing and Wellness, which operates out of Claremont, California. Today, I am talking to you from nature outside in my garden, one of the places I love to be, in general, but it's appropriate for the topic of today, how God uses nature to communicate with us. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you might be out in like deep thought and contemplation and just needing a little bit of comfort or confirmation, and all of a sudden, like maybe a really beautiful, huge monarch butterfly may fly by, catch your attention, pause for just enough time for you to really see it, or maybe like a dragonfly, which is really symbolic, will come and within your eye shot and pause just enough for you to get a beautiful glimpse of it. In fact, Christ said that we would be able to tell the seasons and times for current events by looking to nature, just as you can tell spring is coming when you see the budding on the plants. He mentioned that to his disciples so that they could know, and we could know of the season of things. Well, here's an example I would like to share, and I remember it, quite vividly, almost like it was yesterday. I remember having a conversation in my garden, with God, and He talks to me often, when I'm out sitting in nature. I get a really clear download or message from Him. But on this particular occasion, I was just kind of expressing how frustrated I was with the location where I was working, at the time. I worked for the government before I retired, and, when you work for the government, you can transfer around, and I did that a couple of times as I promoted through the ranks, through the years. And the particular place where I landed that I'm talking about now is just one of those places where I just felt unsettled, just didn't really feel purposeful, didn't really feel welcome, didn't get why I was there. But somehow I knew, I got a really strong sense that He put me there. I can't explain it, but I just sensed that it was His doing, because for some reason I just was really rooted to this particular office space. And so one day I was in my garden, and I was really just kind of just being very candid and open with God, as I usually am. I'm very upfront with Him because, hey, we all need to be. He knows the contents of our hearts, and I love that about God, that we can speak from the heart. And I was just saying, Lord, like, what is it? Why am I here? Why am I feeling like, I'm stuck, or I feel like your hand is in it, the reason why I feel stuck. And as I sat quietly and just kind of waited for just a response, He began to minister to me and explain to me that, yes, it was intentional that I had been placed there. He said to me, quite a few things, and let me see if I can just put it in perspective for the sake of this video. One of the things that He talked about was, you can't even really tell what type of flower or plant something is just by looking at it, or assuming that soil in and of itself is not even fertile. The soil meaning the location. And what He said is I am the one who pours in all the nutrients and the ingredients. I am the one who makes it rain and the sun come upon it, and that it will come into fruition in its appropriate season, when I say it's time for it to come forth. And at that time, when it blooms in its own season and according to its own kind. And until then, it could just be looking just like unfertile soil. It could be looking like a weed that is blooming. It could be looking like it needs tending or pruning or anything like that. And He just really let me know, it's really just kind of not your place to worry about that. If you're looking at people as assuming you understand where they are in their growth. Basically, that's what that is. You have no idea where they are. On the surface, it may appear one way, but He's working on the inside, and only He knows when they will come into their full season and bloom. And of course, it was, very humbling. He said many things to me in that particular conversation. He also mentioned, I am the one who put you there so that others can look and behold and know that I am. And he said, besides, you're paid very well to work in my garden. So what are you complaining about? So, of course, when he said that, I was very humbled. And I thought to myself, that's true. Like I really am. I didn't know the magnitude of what it meant for me to be there in that particular location. And shortly after that, then those truths were made known to me, because so many people would come and sit and converse with me and talk about God and about healing and about just being understood. And that's a rare opportunity to be able to do that in a workplace. Oftentimes you can't really even talk openly in a workplace or amongst your peers, because nowadays with everything being politically correct, it's not a welcome place to do it. But what's interesting, and how I know it was a God assignment, is that in this particular location, nobody minded. They complained about so many other little petty things. You would think that might be one thing that they might say something about, but they didn't. That was confirmation for me that it was God's doing. It was his assignment. Assignments from him come in many shapes and forms. And yeah, they can be very trying working locations, because you might be called to be there to be that bright light. And I've heard it said that sometimes, the light that you shine could be so bright it could be excruciating to the eye of those who are looking on to behold. And sometimes people welcome it, sometimes they shun it. But the bottom line is, you have to let your light shine. You have to look deeper into the purpose of why you are in a particular location. And that brought me so much comfort and peace, once I got that confirmation from him that yes, indeed, why you are there is not the typical reason why you're there. Basically, it matters not, if everybody there receives you. I will send people to you on assignment that will need a word, and that is what you're there for, and that is working in my garden. He made it very clear that it was his garden, and it was a beautiful, beautiful place to be once my eyes were opened. And I do get those symbols oftentimes from God. I remember also one time he told me, when I was telling him, sometimes I would like to feel or see you and just have a little bit more of your presence. And he said something really beautiful to me that I hold on to this day. He said, so as the wind is about you and you can't see it, so am I. And at the same time he said that, a beautiful rushing wind that seemed to only blow past me, because the trees were not moving. It was midday and it was sunny, and I felt the confirmation and the warmth in that message. So I recommend, especially with these trying and difficult times, spend as much time as you can out in nature. Look for those little still, quiet symbols and confirmation that he does send. Smile and know that you are loved and that you are never alone. He's ever present. And, even while I'm sitting here talking to you, what's so funny is I don't know if you can hear it, but behind the camera is a water fountain. And I've never seen this one particular type of bird. It was yellow and black, was small. And, birds generally don't fly that close when you're nearby, unless it's, I feel like, symbolic. But anyway, it flew right where I could see it as I'm filming this video. And I thought, I didn't want to be distracted from the message, but look at that. That's confirmation for me. I don't know what type of bird it was, but it was unique. So that I look for things like that, unique ways that God communicates with me through nature. Another thing that you can do is just do maybe your meditation outside. And sometimes even just being out in the open space and feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin is all the connection that you need. All right? So that's my message for today. Enjoying nature and knowing that God is speaking to us through nature. He is always present. He loves us so much and uses it to communicate with us. So, as always, until the next time, namaste.